Good evening. So, three times a charm. Um, I have done videos on here in the past talking about the next hustle of the end times prophecies, the Antichrist stuff. Um, I've done videos on here, but you can go back and look. That the next hustle of it would be that okay, climate change is real, but that it's the end of the world, it's the end times, the Antichrist is coming in everything, and so nothing we can do about it anyway. Nothing we can do about it, and or this is supposed to happen. It's the end of the world. There's a minister by the name of Perry Stone. I didn't know who he was. He's very popular. I heard about this on David Pakman's show. Um, he's talking about how like these things are supposed to happen. He's talking about everything I said would be pushed. Because what we're watching right now, we're watching the evolution of the conservative movement, which the Christian evangelicals are a big part of. They are the linchpin. They are the heart and soul. Um, he said a little, he went at it a little bit differently than I said it, but I knew because so much of conservative politics today is they're buying time. That's all it is. They're buying time. That's what I've learned. It's there's nothing long term. It isn't just Trump. It's all conservative politics. It's just buying time. It's just well, we didn't know back then when people told you, well, they're communists and they're this. This is you know, Silent Spring, things like that. People that even back in the 50s and the 60s warned you about stuff. Well, they're communists. They hate America. That's why when I hear that now, I always think of that. That there were people that came before me, Eugene Debs, people like that who talked about a better world, a better society. They weren't communists. I was looking at something today. I think it was Truman that talked about how he called it something else, but basically the FDIC, Social Security, all these things were socialism. They were all communism. And I thought about how now people don't even think about that. When you put your money in a bank, you don't look at, well, it's the FDIC bank. No one thinks about that. You think about my money is insured. You want to call it socialism? Whatever. That's what people do. People don't think about this. It's taken as this is just a pillar of society. I'm entrusting my money with the full faith of the federal government. These, be insured. Um, Perry Stone, looking at that little sermon he did about when he was talking about how if you do something that's a little bit environmentally good, that's good, but we know the end of it and all that. And I never really thought to myself that you have Christians that want this. It's like you have soldiers that want war. Not all of them. You have Christians that want it. And it's funny because my whole life, it's always been presented that the left wants this socialist utopia, that the left wants an antichrist, that the antichrist would be like this leftist type figure that's cosmopolitan and so on. There's even been talk that the antichrist would be gay, would be homosexual, and I understand now. I understand now as I've gotten older that's a slur on gay people. That historically, when people in the Christian movement, so when they wanted to have an enemy, they've always pushed them, painting them with the gay brush. There's an episode of Tales of the Dark Side. These two rich men, they had this bet on each other's souls, and the devil came to collect. And the devil was a clearly gay man. It was clearly gay. And I just thought about how back then that must have been funny or like the greatest fear that he's gonna not only get your soul, he's gonna rape you. He's gonna take your manhood. And I realize now that that's what they did. They had the black people were criminals. The gay people were the evil villain. This is just what that was. So I realized that type of talk that the Antichrist would be gay or a pedophile or whatever. That's just some of that same old slurring of people you don't like. That's all it is. You're just heaping upon them the bad stuff. There's nothing to that. Um, Yeah, but the I never really sat and thought about that you have a good portion of Christianity that want an Antichrist. They want these prophecies to be fulfilled. That it's not about, and I'm not going to be stupid. I recognize the sheep of the Middle East. But I recognize that their election of Trump and the moving the embassy and all, this was all about trying to achieve prophecies, trying to like bump stuff up. It's like if it's like me and someone here in this apartment complex had a beef. And I'm like, well, if you do this, I'm going to get you. And then someone that they know comes and slashes my tires or scratches my car. It's like they're trying to start a confrontation. They're trying to get something started where I'm like, it must have been that guy. That's what the Christians are doing. That's what that was with Trump. That's about attempting to achieve, attempting to bump stuff up, attempting to escalate things, attempting to bring about this battle of Megiddo and all that. And that is quite terrifying, and I think it deserves a video. It deserves a look. I think it deserves attention that we have people in our society who are actively attempting to create a doomsday. That's terrifying. There's a movie called Devil's Due. And in that movie, you have basically people get married, they get drugged on their honeymoon, and the woman gets injected with the spawn of Satan. And in the movie, they keep doing it to different people. I think in the movie it's France, and then like at the end it's another couple. Um, and they show how basically like every one of them aren't successful. Like some of them, the police might kill the mother before the baby's born, or the mother might go insane to where even like they're okay, we gotta put him in a facility, and so things get exposed and they have to try it again. And I always thought that was like satanic stuff, and now I realize like no, there's Christians that might do that. There are Christians out here who may actively they want this Antichrist doomsday thing to happen so badly they might conceive of it. Remember, don't forget, when COVID first started, the FBI was talking about white supremacists. They were going to weaponize COVID and we're going to spray it on doorknobs and stuff. They had a meeting where they had somebody come out there with COVID. Don't forget that. There's people who will actively do things like that to create a doomsday. Now, we know that that's not how COVID is spread. And we know that it being outside, it's not as much of a threat. So that's, we realize that was just evil. Evil people inventing evil ideas, evil diabolical ideas to cause harm to the public. And that's all that is. These are just wicked, vicious, nasty, sneaky people who just want to do harm to whoever they can. But the idea behind it, it gives you an idea you're dealing with people who are unhinged, at the very least. That would set off a nuclear bomb somewhere, would do things like that to cause harm, to cause instability. And that's what I'm saying about a portion of the Christian evangelicals. They are attempting to cause instability. And this is dangerous. This is very dangerous what they're doing. I've heard that with Trump. I heard there's Christians that elected Trump for that reason. If they thought Trump would bring about, I heard that it wasn't that they supported him, that they wanted chaos. And I've got to say, if we've got a section of the population who won't wear masks, who won't get the vaccine, who are openly hoping for an Antichrist, hoping for an Antichrist type figure, are doing things to create havoc and instability within the country, I would call these people terrorists. Period. I have no other way to describe them. Whatever your religion, your race, color, creed, sexual orientation, if you're doing these things, you have these beliefs, you are a terrorist. And I'm not sure you can be reasoned with. It's terrifying. I hate to be right about these things, but I said this months ago that I believe the Christians would, the next thing would be to say that, okay, climate change is real, but as I said, it's too late, and B, it's meant to happen because this is somehow they would wrap it around this end times prophecy because they always do that. Remember with Katrina that was a curse by God, the gays that they deserved it. They people in Katrina in New Orleans deserved to die because of all the sodomy and stuff. Remember that? I heard all this stuff when I was a kid. I heard all that kind of stuff. That San Francisco they were all gonna die because of the gay stuff, and I heard that my whole life in the South. You have Christians who are openly baying for violence and destruction and public mayhem. And I think that's quite sad because that's a portion of society that can't be reasoned with. They are so full of hate and cruelty that they are literally willing to create havoc and create and basically bay for mass murder and genocide. I think that's sad because that portion of America is they're not in the ballpark. You ain't playing in the same ballpark I'm playing in. You ain't even in the parking lot. You ain't even across the street from the ballpark. You're in a sunken place. I pray for the children. I pray for the children of these people that uh, I pray for their children. Maybe they can get around somebody that makes them look at things a little differently, or they something. I'm a religious person. I believe in God, but the idea of hoping for violence and instability in a time like this, uh, it's unforgivable. And some of this goes well beyond just personal belief. Because I believe I believe the empire is going to fall. I believe the empire should fall. I'm not out here doing things to make it fall, but I think that our system has set itself up a certain kind of way. These people are actually voting for people that are going to make the country worse. Whereas at the very most, I wouldn't vote. I wouldn't participate. It's different. There's a difference between me saying I'm gonna sit back and watch the bitch fall and burn. I'm gonna sit back with my popcorn, and for me to say, "Hey, I'm gonna pay an arsonist. I'm gonna fund. I'm gonna assist. I'm gonna aid. I'm gonna assist." I'll say it again. An arsonist that's going to create havoc. It's unforgivable. Thank you for listening.